Listen, honestly, the way that I have been putting out content has been quite ridiculous. If you actually knew what I had going on in the background, you'd probably be kind of surprised. I'm surprising myself of how much content is coming out. I'm not sure where this is coming from, but hey, here I am back with another video, which this lighting is just, it's just not the best, but it's fine. We'll work with it. So, as you can see from the title of this video, we are here to continue the conversation about book banning, because what I was thinking about and what has really come to my state of mind and some stuff related to work and stuff like that is that, this is the period when things seem quiet, when things are not making major headlines. This is usually when the dirty work happens. And so I want us as a book community to make sure that we are keeping the conversations about book banning and book challenging going forward. I'm not going to get into the differences and explanations of book banning and book challenging. If you want, I do have a video that explains the difference. I've done a number of videos about book banning and book challenges since last year. Of course, this year we have seen a severe increase in the number of book challenges and book bannings, but this one's kind of interesting. So I still follow news articles related to people's efforts to push back against book banning and book challenging, and states and counties that are doing new things. And here comes Utah, because why not? Why not just be like Texas? I swear that everyone wants to just be like Texas, and it's just the weirdest thing in the world. Like, why would you want to be like Texas? No shade to any of y'all that live in Texas. If you're here, you live in Texas, I'm sure you're a wonderful human, but y'all's governor and y'all state, child, I don't know what y'all got going on. I can't really talk because I live in the deep south too, so take that with a grain of salt. So there were a couple articles that I noticed in the past couple of weeks, not even the past couple of weeks, like the past week and some change, that started talking about how Utah, right before the school year starts, how ironic, they pulled 50 books. A county in Utah decided they were going to pull 50 books. So what we're going to do is I am going to share my screen and we're going to go through this article a little bit. There's a couple of different people who have done stuff on this specific situation, but what I am going to do is I pulled one that talks a little bit about a new law that's allowing them to do this. So we're going to go through this together and look at the 50 books. We should not be surprised by anything we see in terms of these 50 books, because most likely they're all going to be dealing with race and, of course, heavy LGBTQIA plus content. That's always a thing. Okay, so what we're seeing here is, this is Daily Kos. I'm not sure. Lots of ads, but it just says here, Utah School District removes more than 50 books from public school libraries thanks to new law, which is, of course, they are now finding legal ways to make this stuff happen, which is why I want people to keep their eyes open, their ears open, ears to the ground, really paying attention to what's going on, because while things may seem quiet in some areas, there's not as much public uproar. What's happening is there are legal or court related things that are happening. So people are trying to find legal methods in order to continue this extensive wave of book banning and book challenging. So we're gonna look here, and so they're saying that this was covered by the Salt Lake Tribune. More than 50 books by several dozen authors are set to be removed from public school libraries in the biggest school district in Utah. The texts were part of a review done for sensitive material that lacks literary merit. Now, I always find stuff like this extremely interesting when they say stuff like literary merit. Who is determining what is literary merit? We always have to pay attention to these school boards and who's making up these school boards and what is the definition of literary merit. Who gets to define that? And what text are you using as an example to define literary merit? I bet you it's by straight, cis, het, white men. That's typically what is literary merit some days. So they're saying here that some of the books include 19 Minutes by Jodi Picoult. Genderqueer, of course, has been challenged quite a bit. Forever by Judy Blume. George M. Johnson's All Boys Aren't Blue. I know that George has had a lot of challenges pushed up against their book. What was interesting is, like, in here I'm seeing that Rupi, I don't want to pronounce their last name wrong, but Rupi's poetry book Milk and Honey is being challenged. I mean this is interesting. It's it's so ubiquitous it can be found in apparel store, Urban Outfitters, which is very true. It's very interesting what people choose to go after in terms of book bannings and book challengings. So it says here, of course, the real issue with these books is they highlight marginalized voices. More than 40% include LGBTQ plus characters, or they reflect real life horrors young people are facing, like gun violence, which the video that I just put out talks specifically about books that are written for a teen audience, and they're not about adult. And so when we begin taking away even the books that are left, the books that are remaining that are geared towards a teen audience, like what do these kids have left, y'all? Like, I am so concerned. Like, it's not that I don't care about the adults, but these kids are losing so much right now, and it is disgusting. It is sickening. I can't continue to fathom it. It says here, in terms of specific numbers, the Alpine School District reviewed 275 books total. Parents were able to suggest books from school libraries for said review. In the end, the board removed 52 books and set aside 32 more to be evaluated more closely come fall. This is ridiculous. And this is just random. This has nothing to do with what we're discussing right now. But look at this. Wisconsin School District bans teachers from wearing rainbow attire and displaying pride flags. So much for separation of church and state. So much for that, huh? Okay, so Pen America is the one that released the list, and they said 52 books by 41 authors are being removed from the libraries of Utah's largest school district after an internal library audit determined who was on this library audit. Who made these decisions? I keep asking people to really challenge and to think about who's making these decisions. An internal library audit. I think personally that if these individuals are challenging or determining that books are sensitive material under a new law and don't have literary merit, what they should be doing is releasing the information about who's on these boards and who's on these internal audit committees making these decisions. And I promise you, it's going to turn out the way we think it is. Majority cishet white people. That's how it always goes. And it's a power thing. It is a power dynamic. It is losing control of what is going on in this country. God forbid you be anything but what they are. And so because you may be different, you don't share the same values or thoughts as them, that means that you have to go. Your experience is not worth telling. It's disgusting. I get infuriated every time I see this. Okay. So there are some ones on here that like I have seen and ones that I haven't seen. I've never seen Twisted by Lori Halse Anderson Poole. I've never read Twisted, by the way, so I haven't seen that. The Haters by Jesse Andrews I've seen before. Damsel in Red Hood by Elena K. Arnold. I've never read anything by the author. Also, What Girls Are Made Of. So when some of these are like challenging or banning an entire like a catalog of an author, goodness gracious. My friend Dahmer, which is, well, you know, I mean, I guess for me, I get kind of interested in what is the limitation. I understand, you know, thinking about what you want your child to be exposed to. I think that is your job as a parent to make that determination. If you don't want your child reading, you know, a book about a serial killer, then that's fine. I'm not going to push back against a parent who is trying to figure out what they think is appropriate for their child. That is parenting 101. What I have a problem with is people coming in and feeling like they can make parental decisions for other people. How do you as a parent feel like you should be able to make decisions for someone else's child? If you're so worried about what your child is exposed to, be a parent. You need to control it. It is not anybody else's job but yours. It's lazy. Okay? Now I keep seeing stuff like this. Now I'm starting to get really pissed. That's lazy. That's bum behavior. Okay? You want someone else to be the parent and you want to control everybody else's kids. Mind your business. Mind the business that pays you, and it's not managing someone else's child. That okay. Queer, the Ultimate LGBT Guide for Teens. I actually just selected that book not too long ago. The Sin Eater's Confession, Forever by Judy Blume, Flamer. A lot of this stuff does have LGBTQ plus elements. This book is gay. The Girl Who Fell from the Sky, Lawn Boy, The Carnival at Bray, Rethinking Normal, a memoir in transition. Yeah, a lot of stuff. Crank, Fallout, Impulse by Ellen Hopkins, because we're not going to talk about things that teens are actually dealing with, like exposure to drugs, right? We won't talk about stuff like that. People Kill People, which talks about gun violence. Tilt. So we have, let's see here, 5 books by Ellen Hopkins. We Are the Ants, All Boys Aren't Blue, Almost Perfect, Milk and Honey. That's so strange. Milk and Honey, like, that is so left field. Whatever. Genderqueer. Everybody wants to challenge genderqueer. And once again, y'all, we're going to talk about the fact that these books did not come out this year. And it's so amazing because I can pretty much tell you a full list of books that even I have read this year, that have been released this year, that these parents would challenge. But they don't know, because they're being told what to challenge. They talk about they don't want their kids indoctrinated, but you are challenging and banning books from years ago. You don't even know what's being published right now. You can't even keep up with what's being published and what your kids have access to. There are books that are being purchased for the school library that they would challenge if they knew about them, but they know nothing about them, because why would we parent our kids when we could just make everybody else miserable? Because that's what we want to do in this world. That's just weird. It is weird. Imagine having kids of your own and then wanting to control everybody else's kids. Strange things. Parenting my one child is enough. I sure as hell do not want to parent anybody else's child. One is enough for me. Ugh, I did not know this was going to be a rant, or that I was going to get so angry seeing this, but because I haven't seen this list. This is definitely like my first time seeing it. I just saw the articles, but I hadn't seen the list yet. Real life boyfriends, yes, boyfriends plural. If my life weren't complicated, I would be Ruby Oliver, E. Lockhart, Daughters Unto Devils. Of course, Sarah J. Maas. That whole thing that happened, I believe, in Virginia, about them actually trying to create a law where they can remove books. And I know that Jess Owens had talked a little bit about this. I don't know. I can't remember if Jess went explicitly like further into the fact that now, because this article came out maybe a couple days ago, they are now trying to develop a law that would not only stop Barnes and Noble from selling the book, but you could not personally exchange book. You couldn't sell the book. Barnes and Noble, Books A Million, like booksellers couldn't do it. Libraries couldn't do it either, whether that's school or public. So it's literally kind of like Fahrenheit 451 type of shit, where no one can have the book, like, at all. It's very weird. If y'all want to know more about that, or if I need to do a video on that, let me know, because I just found out about how extensive that law is supposed to become because of one politician who lost their seat, and now of course they're vindictive. I think a lot of people just need emotional management, like some type of therapy, like behavioral therapy. I'm a big fan of behavioral therapy. I usually do behavioral therapy because, hey, it's life, it's issues that I have to do behavioral therapy. I think some people should join me in doing behavioral therapy, because throwing a temper tantrum, losing a seat, and now wanting to introduce laws to literally remove the ability to own a book, like even privately exchange it between people, like you can get in trouble for selling the book to someone, that is ridiculous. Okay, so we do have Sarah J. Maas's entire backlist. Well, not entire backlist, but we have the whole of A Court of Thorns and Roses series, of course. The Truth About Alice has been challenged before. Fade by Lisa. That's random. Do y'all know Wake, Fade, and Gone came out in like 2014, 2013? I would even go as far as to say maybe 2012. Wade, Fake, and Gone is so damn old. This is what I'm saying. These people don't know what they're doing, but okay, go off, I guess. Lauren Miracles. These old behind series, TTFN, TTYL, that was when like those, like that type of thing was in. It's not anymore. These kids are probably sure they're not reading these books. They're really not. This is fascinating. Breathless, Neanderthal opens the door to the universe. Out of Darkness has been challenged quite a bit. Girl to Girl, short fictions, 19 Minutes by Jodi Picoult. I don't know too many teens that are going to run to pick up a Jodi Picoult book to begin with, but okay. Angus Thongs and Full Frontal Snogging, that's been challenged quite a bit. And then when I say challenged or banned, I mean like on a national level, like some of these titles have been reflected on like ALA's list before. The Midnight Lie by Marie Rudkowski, like why? These, y'all, this is the most chaotic and random list. Tell me you don't know what you're doing without telling me you don't know what you're doing. This is the most chaotic and random list known to mankind. Literally, it feels like you have a bunch of people who have come together to develop a list and they have no idea what the hell they're doing. Because I just don't understand like how this list was a thing. Of all these old ass books, of everything that has been published within the past 2 years, this is the list you develop. Your kids are not reading this stuff. The most things that these kids are probably touching, I would say probably, you know, I've seen Ellen Hopkins still get a lot of play in terms of like library circulation. I know that Genderqueer, of course, is getting a lot of circulation because of what's been going on. All Boys Aren't Blue getting a lot of circulation because of what's going on. Of course, Sarah J Maas just gets a lot of circ in general because of Sarah J Maas. But a lot of this stuff is older. You probably will still get some circ from like This Book is Gay. I know that just because I've seen that move. Queer, the Ultimate LGBT Guide, I know that's pretty much getting a lot, but a lot of this stuff these kids are not even touching. So I'm very confused about this list. This is very, it's not, I don't mean to make it like light of like these books aren't good or that these books don't have literary merit, because they do. What I'm saying is that these books are dated. A lot of these books probably are not really circulating to begin with, meaning that I don't feel like a lot of teens are gravitating towards them, which further goes to show that the people who are doing this from a place of not true concern, but a place of being vindictive and not knowing really what the hell they're doing. They're being told that these books have quote unquote inappropriate content or not fit for a school district, but they don't really know. They don't know what they're doing here. You can tell. You can't even keep up with what's being published. You're pulling titles that are, some of them damn near 10 years old already. This is fascinating. It's ignorance. It's pure ignorance. And so we see Push by Sapphire, which okay. Jesus Lord, a memoir, sex if you're scared of the truth, don't read this. This is strange. So a spokesperson for the district said, we've not had a book burning or anything. Okay, they're being proactive about books they've heard concerns about. Proactive about books they've heard. And who has these concerns and where did they get their concerns from? Because this is what happens when people like delve into stuff that they don't know anything about. Okay, so this is Alpine School District, which is the biggest school district in the state. This past spring, lawmakers in Utah passed a dangerous new law called HB 374, titled Sensitive Materials in Schools, which in part allows for books in public schools from K to 12 to be immediately removed if they meet definitions of pornography under the law. What is this country coming to? Okay, I'm just gonna, because I'm baffled. As you can imagine, conservatives are quick to find anything remotely queer, anything about sexual abuse to be pornography, and content about cisgender and heterosexual people to be the norm. Exactly. What is the definition of pornography in the book? I think of pornography of like, and I don't even think it's like pornography. I think of heavy, hardcore sex scenes that I read in my romance books. Like, that's as close to me like as you would get in terms of pornography. I don't think any of these books have pornography. What do you mean by pornography? This is wild. Yeah, it's scary to think about efforts to ban books in conjunction with other anti-queer movements. Take, for example, the Don't Say Gay bills popping up across the nation, as well as efforts to demonize and isolate vulnerable trans youth by barring them from participating in sports and even using the restroom. Critical race hysteria is another manifestation of this anti-intellectual and divisive rhetoric. With midterms coming up, Republicans are pulling all the stops out to get their voter base angry at anyone unlike them. I don't necessarily think that that is a stretch. I don't think that that's a stretch. Okay, y'all. So I am going to share that link down in the description box below. I can't really say that I'm 100% surprised. I can't say that I am extremely baffled at this at all. I'm baffled in the sense that this is what people think their time and their effort should go towards. Instead of taking care of things that really should be taken care of, instead of providing safe spaces for our kids to actually go to school, instead of talking about things like gun control and parents not having to worry about their kids going to school and dying. But we want to challenge books that are 10, 15 years old because they may or may not have pornographic materials based off of whose definition of pornography. I just think our priorities as a country are so screwed up right now. It just makes me so nervous and so hesitant, but I'm not going to continue to delve on it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment box below. Like I said, I will share that article. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. If you're looking for ways to follow me on social media or support the channel, all links will be down in the description box below, and I'll be back with another video soon.